Welcome to Vera. She is our 1991 Chevy. It's on a Thomas body. Come check out our bus conversion. So first, when you come in, we have our shoe rack right here. We have on the top, it kind of slanted in, so we had to make personal shelves. A big thing for our boots, and then I have a smaller one for our sandals. And then on the bottom one, we can only fit one. And then there's still some room on the side. And then we also have a thing over here for umbrellas, walking sticks, some propane, our little broom. We kept this open. We can just throw things in here when you get in here, your hats, your gloves, whatever. And then this little piece has a lip, so slingshots or whatever you want to throw up there, you can. You come on in. We changed out the seat. It's not like a rotating or a special seat, it's just a Jeep seat, and Kevin switched that out. He says it's rather comfortable. We cleaned this up, we painted all the redid black, put plastic here so it's not so, when he goes to put his arm down, it's not so crazy. Up here we didn't do all that much. He had to keep it still open because he says he still needs to get in here and still work on the wire sometime if anything goes wrong. So I just put these in here so we could put our maps, notebooks, wet wipes and what have you, matches, things like that we can easily get to, but we don't need them all the time. Right over here above the door, we had, so it was a first aid kit, and there was two of them. And the first one I was like, oh, that's not so bad, it's just a typical first aid kit, we don't need to do anything special with it. But the second one was a barf first aid kit, so if kids got sick on the bus, then it said like barf kit on it. So I was like, no, throw up vomit kit or something like that. So I was like, let's switch these up. So we just painted them, we just sanded them down and painted them. We have all these stickers from where we've been, all of our favorite places. This is for Kevin's phone. We have a rear view backup camera, and he has an app on his phone, so he can just put his phone here and see everything just fine. I also just put a little hook here. I'll probably put a few more. It's always good to have a bag or the kids' jackets. I think we're going to put a few little peel and stick hooks here, and then that way if we're stopped at any place we can just put, if it's been like raining or what have you, we can just put our jackets up there. Coming over here, we of course have a fire extinguisher, but they make them in white now, so they're really cute and kind of, it still stands out like you want a fire extinguisher too, but at least it's white and it's cute. We have two regular plugs and then two plugs for our cell phones, and then a place to put our cell phones so when they're plugged in, they're kind of off and away and they don't get lost. And then we have three of these. These are shoe racks from IKEA, but we can open them up. We have our hammocks, candles, things we would need to get out really quick, and then you also have a cute little shelf, so when you're sitting here you can also use it as like you put your drink up there or your book or whatever you have. So I normally do it's empty now, but I normally do snacks and things the kids can get at it very easily, and then there are games and books in here. We put in these chairs, which they just pat on them because it was metal, but we put these chairs in because we need to stack them up and either put them in the back or put them right here when we fold this out. This couch is from IKEA. It has storage underneath it, so if you have extra blankets or if we're going to be in here for a long time, maybe some winter coats, it pulls out to about here. We'll show you. These seat belts in here, so there's four seat belts, so we can have the kids and like two other people. I also put these up here, which are really helpful when you're driving. I can put my camera up here, my cell phone. I put a few things for the kids toys wise, so I can just grab it. I don't have to unbuckle, be going through things when we're trying to drive with them. These racks were original with the bus. We had to clean them up quite a bit, but they were down both sides of the bus. So we kept this one, we cleaned it up, put it back in, and we kept this one. And then we also have one in our bedroom. So it's great to throw my backpack up here, or your purse, or your luggage. We have extra blankets, pillows, that kind of thing. The kids' car seats, when they're done, you know, when we're done moving, and this is an actual couch, it's good to throw them up there. I made these curtains. They're on slides from also IKEA, but we also put this Velcro here. So you can slide them out when you're stopped, but when you're moving and you have to have your windows open, or it's the daytime and you just want them out of way, this is self-sticking Velcro to keep them together, which is really great because in our last trip, we had to have the windows open because we have no AC in here when we're driving, and it was like a crazy wind tunnel, but as soon as we clipped them up, it was great. So if you have questions about the seat belts, the couch itself is bolted to the actual bus, and then the seat belts are bolted to the couch. So I think we're pretty safe there. We've also moved these emergency hatch windows. They push out like that. Kevin's going to put some struts. He hasn't yet. There was one on either side of the bus, but he moved them both to this side. So right where we cook, this is where our cooktop will be. And if we want to, or like say it's raining, but we're cooking something we don't want the smell, or you're cooking something and there is a smell, we can just pop them out and it can... Over here, we have a Dickinson stove. It can burn coal, charcoal, it can wood, pellets, it can burn anything. They put them on boats. We haven't attached the hood yet. We're going to in the fall. Right now it's North Carolina in the middle of the summer, so it's like 100 and some degrees. So I obviously don't need that, but it'll be really great for in the fall. And then I picked up this old Coleman cooler at a yard sale, but we have a fridge. So we decided to still keep it. It looks really cool on the bus, and we can put any of our wood burning things in here, and then that way if it's like wood, there's no like creepy crawlies going around. It's all sealed and contained, and it fits perfect right underneath there. It's really cute. This is our kitchen. Right now there's not much on the counter. Normally there's things all over the place like when we're stopped, but we just got back home and I kind of put everything away for when we're on the move. So I normally have stuff all over the counter. Right now all of our, we used it this weekend, so all of our dishes and stuff are drying. I just have one of these, it pops up and pops down, sink, and then that can just drain into the sink so you're not taking up precious counter space that you have left. I just have one of these suction things to keep my sponge and my cleaning supplies in. We have running water. I put this up here. These are fantastic. They are lights. You can either hook them, LED lights, or they have this magnet, so on the bus you really can just throw them anywhere. So it's nice to have. We keep our water bottles up here, some towels, cutting boards, there's some more sponges in there. It's just good to have. Here's our hot water heater. I can just click this on. The shower's on the other side. We tried to keep all of our water components in the same spot. So just flip that on, in about 30 seconds you have hot water. So if you want to take a hot shower, you just gotta clip this on. We got this picture from Hobby Lobby. Kevin, we went for some reason to get something and he fell in love with it. So we went back and got it. Typical cabinet drawers, except we have pretty strong magnets on them. Silverware. These are pretty deep drawers, pots and pans, that kind of thing. And then I believe that's miscellaneous. I am probably going to put cabinet poles on these because when you open it up this way, these magnets are so strong, it's really, really hard. So under here we just have things that would normally be up there. Garbage can, tablecloths, things to cook with. Jackie's enormous thing of pancakes because he eats like 6 a day. And then just a thing that holds our pots and pans. On the other side, we have a whole nother cooktop, countertop for cooking. We pull this out, so if we are hooked up to power, shore power, then we have this cooktop and we just plug it in right on top there. If not, down here we have this camper stove that we can pull out. we put it on here. We have another smaller camper stove we had from earlier, and we can bring that outside. It's in the back, and we can just bring that inside. So you can cook inside, outside, whichever you'd like. I also put a ton of water storage down here, and when we're moving, that's where I put like our chips and our bread and everything. So just our plates, some extra things. I made these little dividers. It was just like really thick boxes. I put some fabric on the outside, and that will hold like our bowls and our cups and plates. It keeps them from rattling around, which is nice because when you're moving around, even though they're plastic, you hear them clanking and stuff, and that's pretty annoying. So, and then more dry storage. This is a really deep, really big. You can fit a lot in here. There's still more room where you can fit more. We got propane and rice and that kind of thing. We have our fridge. We were going to get a smaller, like just a little college fridge, but when we went to Lowe's one time, they had this on clearance, and we started looking at the wattage and everything. This takes the same amount of energy than those little fridges, so we thought, why not have a fridge? So it's quite large, and then you have the whole freezer. Not that big, but you definitely fit some ice cream in there. And because it was much shorter and I didn't want to feel like I was in a dollhouse, like opening the fridge like this, on the bottom we built a cabinet which boosts up the fridge, and then you can still have a whole bunch of storage down there underneath. Above, we just bought a regular cabinet, and then we had to cut it to the curve of the bus. And it's just filled. This is our coffee and tea supplies, and then just more dry storage and drinking things. So this week I got a few new things. I got some little, it's fake, but some little greenery. It's just a magnet, so I could really put it anywhere I want to. I just thought next to the fridge it needed some. I got this to hold some spices. I had them up here in the cabinet, but they were kind of all over the place. And some mayo and stuff to put in our drinks. I got these little, we had this dinky little ice cube tray, but we'll be using water bottles a lot. So I got this ice cube tray that you just slide them in your water bottles. I thought that was helpful and useful. And then I found this at a thrift store, so things don't rattle around. If you have a bunch of little things, you can just put them in there and pull them out very easily. I'll keep looking for things like that at thrift stores or like, you know, Big Lots, some like discount stores, if I can get them cheap. That way things aren't rattling around. It's like doing Tetris when you know the bus is going to be moving around. And then I also got this. Is going to be a little basket. It had these hooks on the side. You put it like on a shelf or what have you. So I just took a metal clippers, clipped that off, and then Kevin's going to attach it right here. It's not that deep, so it doesn't really affect you while you're washing dishes, but it's deep enough for like apples, oranges, bananas, a fruit basket. I thought if it's contained to the wall, that's one less thing that we have to take down, up and down from the counter. We have a few things that as soon as, you know, they stay down here, and then as soon as we stop, we put them up top, and it's a lot of bringing stuff in and out. So anything that I can find that can just be in its spot permanently is always a time saver. Moving back, we have a little bit of art. And then we have our boys' bunks. So my oldest is up top. They each have two, so they can charge their cell phones and things like that. And well, the kids don't have cell phones, but their tablets and what have you. And then they each have a light that they can switch on and off. So that's always nice. Jackie has the bunk underneath. He has a magnetic board because I didn't want him putting anything on the walls that we couldn't take off. So back there he also has a light and a place where he can charge his devices. I'll probably put a little shelf in there for him. Jackie's bunk, because it is the underneath bunk. Just lift this up a little bit. There's a handle. And then this is the storage. I normally have all their clothes here, a whole bunch of toys here. It's lifted because of the bump, because of the tire wheel wells, and then in the bathroom there's also a wheel well, so everything's slightly lifted. But it's quite a bit of room, and they're children, so they have very small clothing. So it was a ton of clothes and a whole bunch of toys that we brought this weekend, and they still had like way more than enough room. So if you wanted to be full-time or you're going away for like a long extended period of time, 2 boys, plenty of room. We didn't want to take up any room in the hallway because obviously you can see I'm like a normal sized person, but this is still tight, so we decided to do these rocks so they could climb up into their bunk. You also see a little notch here, like a little lock. This is the bathroom door. When you open the bathroom door to have privacy, you can close it, and there is a latch and you can close it here. So yeah, you can still see the feet underneath. My youngest, Jackie, crawls underneath while you're trying to get dressed. But at least that way you're not stuck in a small bathroom. You have this whole back area to change in. Or if someone is up front and you're just taking a nap and you need to be quiet, like they're watching a movie, it adds a little bit more privacy to the area. So if you come back here, we have a shower, which I am, what would you say, Megan? 5'5", 5'6"?
5'6", yeah.
About 5'6". I still have some room. If you want more room, you just have to step closer to this side. But it's still good. This is about 3 foot deep, so we have a little bathtub if we want to give the kids a bath. And then we have the tube that goes up here if I want to take this adjustable shower head. Our toilet over here. So I have just like our toothbrushes and things to put some of our toiletries in. 2 lights, so if you want to make it really bright or it's just nighttime and you want to sneak in here. This is a compostable toilet. Pee goes down into our gray water tank. In the back, we have our mulch is right over here. So after you go number 2, you just mulch it and it doesn't smell, or put peat moss on it. Doesn't smell. We've also are going to look into coconut fibers. I heard they were really good, and when we did our bus tour, some people said that they've tried that with their litter box, and they've heard that a lot of people do it for their compost toilet, so we're going to try that out. And then just a little place for our toilet paper, little hook out of the way. Just bare necessities, what you need. If you need a sink, we have the sink is just on the other side of the wall, so and then this is what I was talking about, you can close that there. Our closet, Kevin gets a big bin. You still have room on this side. I have a bin, I still have room. We normally put our laundry basket down here. There's still room on the side. Broom we hooked up. This is where we put our towels. You can clip it down if nothing's there. Clip it up out of the way. I believe they were from IKEA as well. I have an electrical switch here if we need to plug in for whatever reason. The bed lifts up. It is on struts on either side, so it stays up. You don't have to worry about holding this heavy bed up. So we each have one of these rather large, long things that we can put, you know, our socks, underwear, bras in, and then we each have a large Tupperware container to put winter, summer clothes, or, you know, like pants and shirts. There's still some room in the front, so I have some other like small storage container things in the front. And as you can see, there's still little places if we really had to jam it in there. Kevin's is configured a little differently because he has this large bag that goes in the front. It's like a hiking bag, and so his is in the front. There's still tons of room. We were just gone for the weekend, so we literally just used this green one. So I can imagine if you had to take your whole wardrobe and push it down into, you could easily fit in here, no problem at all. So this is a queen size bed. Take my shoes off. Queen size bed. We got the mattress from Amazon. It was one of those that comes like tightly compacted in a circle thing. You let it out and then you let it sit for 2 days and it rises. It's foam. It's really comfortable. This is the other rack that we just cleaned up and put back so we can put like our hats and things up there. This is my amazing bookshelf. Kevin made this for me, and it has a string so that when we go, all the books don't go flying forward. Again, we just have the sliding curtains. On my side, I have a reading light and a way to charge my phones. I have this little shelf so I can put my phone or whatever I want in there, you know, writing paper and things like that. And then we each have one of these side compartments. We each have a whole thing where we can put, you know, your books, whatever you have. We have a whole drawer. We can fit whatever we want. One thing I forgot to tell you about was the lights running down the middle. They have a bright switch or a dimmer switch, and there's 4 throughout the entire bus. So the bedroom has one, this hallway, aka the boys' room, has one, kitchen area, and then living room area. So we can switch them off as we go, or if you're up front watching a movie and you don't want to waste space, you know, energy in the back, or if someone's sleeping but you're up front, and then that way you can change. It's kind of like zones of the bus. So we have 4 zones, and we can change them and or not use all of them. That way you're not wasting so much energy. All right, on the side of the backs, then we're moving back to our battery.
Okay, the first bay is our battery bay, and we have 2 starting engines for the bus. Because the alternator's so big, you need a big place for all that charge to go while you're running. So there's 2 batteries, usually in most large diesel vehicles. And because we had a problem over this past winter with the battery discharging, we've made sure to put a really good trickle charger on it, so when the bus isn't being used for extended periods of time, the batteries are always getting a charge, so we don't have to worry about them dying again.
And moving back to the middle of the bus, we had another compartment, and this is where our propane hot water heater and water supply is.
This wet bay has 2 40-gallon water tanks. The first of which, the one that's closest to the front here, is actually the gray water tank, and the one that's in the back is the freshwater tank. And if you move around to this side, you can actually see that this whole pump unit, this whole unit here in the center, I built it outside of the bus, and I designed it so that if we ever have any issues with it or any leaks, I just have to disconnect a couple tubes, and then I can actually pull the whole thing out. But it actually has our pump, a pressure tank, and a whole house water filter on the side. And then that actually goes into our hot water heater, which is a suburban unit for an actual RV. So there's 6 gallons. It's a 6-gallon traditional propane heated water tank. We've got the switch on the inside of the bus, and it takes about 20 minutes for it to heat up. But in all honesty, it's probably better and more efficient to have it done this way as opposed to a on-demand system. It's going to use less propane, and it's going to use less. If we did it electrical, we could have never done it using just solar power. And then behind that we have the propane tank, and unfortunately the propane tank was about 1/2 inch too tall to fit vertically, so we ended up building a cradle for it and putting it in on its side. And I'll eventually get a larger tank, but for now it's just convenient using the standard tanks that we can just exchange at most gas stations and grocery stores without needing to pull the tank and getting it filled, you know, like an Agway or a place like that.
We also have a bunch of these little ones for our cooktops.
And then I actually have an adapter. If we run out of the little ones, we actually have an adapter that fits onto the larger tank, where we can fill the 1-pound tanks from that.
Now up top, I'll probably show pictures that are better and you can see it better. Right here and right there, that's where the 2 kayak racks are gonna go. We have an extendable ladder, so it's very easy to get up and down. So we'll do that. And then we also have our 4 solar panels, and Kevin will just tell us about our solar. So Kevin made this awesome slow moving vehicle sign. Even though it's this giant bus, most people should know it's a slow moving vehicle. People are jerks, they honk anyway. So we're like, sign, then you know. Also, he put this on the back door. Explain that, Kev.
Okay, this is just, you know, a lot of trailers and utility vehicles already have these on here, like you know, carpenter vehicles and whatnot. And what it does is actually, when you pull the door all the way open, it just locks into place, and it keeps the door from moving. So eventually, when we put a screen on this back door, we can just lock the door open like this, and then we just
have the door wide open. And
and plus, when we're loading stuff in and out, and if it gets windy, we don't have to worry about the door closing on me, which wouldn't really be good.
Yeah, it's a pretty heavy door. We also put a deadbolt on there, safety reasons, and to keep the bus secure. We don't want anyone sneaking in our bedroom, back bedroom, in the middle of the night. You've seen before, underneath, it's a little easier now with the door open, but we have our camping grill that goes outside, all of our batteries. And then this is kind of like our garage area. So all of our, this is like a big tent. So if we need an overhang, extra water, and seats and what have you. Got Kev?
Okay. Over here is the battery bank. And we have three large batteries. They're maybe 21 inches deep by 9 inches tall by 9 inches wide. And in all, it's a total of 600 amp hours of storage space, because they're each about 200 amp hours. They're deep cycle AGMs, so that way we don't have to worry about venting them. They're sealed batteries. It's just safer than having traditional batteries. We would have had to vent them through the wall, worrying about the hydrogen gas they release.
And this is right where our bed is.
Yeah.
So we didn't really want the fact that this is under our bed. We didn't want anything dangerous, or there might be some issues, or if there is a leak or what have you, being right under our bed where we sleep kind of freaked us out. So
what we have is, we have the 400 watts on the roof of solar, which 4 individual 100 watt panels, and it comes down through the bus, through the back, and over here, and it feeds in to just a real basic solar charger, solar controller. And we kept, the MPPT controllers are more efficient. They're a little bit more expensive. They're more efficient, so you get more out of your solar. But the problem is all the way here in the back of the bus, it gets a lot of vibration when we're driving down the road. So the MPPTs are just more susceptible to vibrations and damage. So we don't get as much out of our solar with this basic unit, but we don't have to worry about it not working for us.
In the future, we could also upgrade if we want to. Right now, we're really just camping on the weekends. If we're camping a lot more, we find ourselves using this a lot more. If we ever went full time, we could definitely just upgrade it. We'll also have all of his tools, oil, water, or hatchet. This is our like roadside triangles if we ever break down. Hope, knock on wood, we do not.
Yeah, but when the power leaves the solar unit before it goes to the batteries, there's actually a 30 amp fuse to protect the batteries. That way we don't have to worry about overcharging them. Even though everything's controlled in there, it's just a few extra precautions just to keep from starting a fire or to keep from damaging our system. I've also installed a trickle charge unit here, battery unit here, so that way, we are in pretty much full shade over where we're parked. So especially if we have a few rainy days in a row, I don't want to discharge the batteries too much and damage those, and then it's going to be really expensive to get us back on track. So I put that there just to make sure everything's topped off when we're not using the bus. And over in this bay is the electrical bay. So everything from the batteries comes up underneath the bed and over into here. And we have 2 separate units. We have, this is a standard 12 volt fuse block. And so everything that runs directly off of 12 volts in the bus is fused through here. And then we also have this, which is just a real basic 600 watt Xantrix Pro Sine inverter. It's really great. The 600 watts, a lot of people are going to say that's way too small, but it powers everything that we need it to. It even powers our refrigerator without any issue. And the fact that it's pure sine means that we can plug in electronic devices like our phones and our tablets and not have to worry about any surges or anything damaging those. But what happens is the battery comes through here, comes through this fuse, which is just another precaution. And then we've actually got a cutoff switch here, so if we need to, we can cut this off in an emergency and cut all power to the bus. But what we have is we have the power coming through this inverter, and then it goes from here into here, and then this is where everything is fused. So this is all of our 110 power. So the first one is actually shore power. So we don't have an automatic transfer switch. I decided to keep it as basic as possible. So if we're running on shore power, instead of this, what I actually do is I actually cut this off, cut off the inverter, and then I turn the shore power on, and we actually have a plug on the outside so we can actually plug in if we're on the road and we need power because it's raining, or we're not, we don't have enough sun to really run everything. We can just plug in to keep it easy. But then I have a circuit for the driver's side of the bus. I have a circuit for the passenger side of the bus, and then I also have a circuit that just handles the overhead lights and a couple utility plugs. So it's just, I tried to keep everything functional, but as basic as possible so we can keep track of everything.